Trout Unlimited Canada often works with its members and local organizations to effect important changes to protect, enhance, and preserve freshwater ecosystems. On Quirk Creek, located in the Kananaskis region, TU staff, government officials, volunteer anglers, and students from the University of Calgary are working together to protect native cutthroat and bull trout populations. Non-native brook trout are having a devastating impact on native trout populations.
Well, brook trout, a non-native species, have moved into this creek and are out competing cutthroat and bull trout. Trout Unlimited Canada has been working with Sustainable Resource Development in Alberta to use angling as a means of removing the brook trout and to see if we can re-establish the native populations. Anytime you have a species like cutthroat or bull trout that are not as competitive as some of the species that have been brought in, it's important to maintain that genetic pool and to maintain the purity of the streams.
We're doing a population estimate on the lower section of Quirk Creek, and we're doing this so we can monitor changes that are occurring in the fishery to see how effective angler harvest of brook trout is in reducing the brook trout population so that we can facilitate a recovery of the native cutthroat and bull trout in Quirk Creek. Well, we'll never get rid of brook trout in the system, just the same as people will never get rid of the dandelions in their lawn or in their garden. This fishery in here historically was just cutthroat and bull trout, and more recently, within the last 30 years, brook trout have come in from the Elbow River and the population has exploded. From the perspective of quality of fishery, brook trout are not able to provide as good of a quality fishery in here as the cutthroat and the bull trout because they become mature and spawn at a young age and small size, and that results in overpopulation and stunting occurring. Cutthroat trout and bull trout in here are growing to a larger size. 25% of the cutthroat and bull trout that anglers were catching are over 25 centimeters in length, whereas only 5% of the brook trout that anglers are catching in here are over 25 centimeters in length. You're far better off to have cutthroat and bull trout in the stream than brook trout because you'll have a higher catch rate for the same number of cutthroat and bull trout in here as you would for the same number of brook trout in here. So you have a higher catch rate for larger fish on average than if it was just a brook trout fishery.
Well, the main purpose of the work today with 18 students from the University of Calgary is to give them experience at doing real field biology, and we're working with Alberta Fish and Wildlife and Trout Unlimited in providing that experience for them. They also provide extra hands so that the Fish and Wildlife crew can collect more data than maybe they normally would with a project like this. I think one of the things that's most exciting about a project like this is it is collaborative. It gives the students an opportunity to work on a real project designed by our managers who work for the province, and the collaboration from the students' perspective, I think, gives them the opportunity to meet people who work in the field and have careers in fisheries, so that they get to see what a real fish biologist does in the field once they graduate from university.
One of the really important aspects of this project since we started it in 1998 is that it's been a collaborative project with Trout Unlimited, and more recently the University of Calgary has become involved with students doing field studies, learning how we're doing various things here. We don't have the resources in Fish and Wildlife to be able to do projects like this on the long term without assistance from other groups. Furthermore, it provides the opportunity to get this information out to more people. Many Trout Unlimited members are aware of what we're doing and why we're doing it, and they're supportive of it. Rather than them perceiving this as being genocide on brook trout, they recognize that this is a non-native species and that if we want to preserve the native cutthroat and bull trout here, it's really important.
Join Trout Unlimited Canada today and start making a difference in your community.